If you had to pick just one skill, that one critical mindset that every single leader needs to master today, this is it. It's the ability to not just get by when things change, but to actually thrive in it. So, okay, let's jump right into this. Let's talk about agility.
And that really sets the stage, doesn't it? The world is moving so fast. Technology, business, you name it, everything is constantly shifting. And in this kind of environment, being able to adapt isn't just a nice-to-have skill anymore. Nope, it's literally about survival. The stakes could not be higher.
And this is the perfect example. So years ago, the CEOs of these two companies actually met. You had Blockbuster, this absolute giant, so confident in their plan that they just passed on a partnership. And then you had Netflix, a company built from the ground up with a vision of delivering change. We all know how that story ended, right? It's a classic cautionary tale. One company fought change, the other one was the change.
So if the big problem is this world of constant, relentless change, then what's the solution? Well, it all comes down to cultivating a very specific mindset, a whole new way of operating that lets you anticipate and lead. This is what we call the Agile Leader's Mindset.
So what do we even mean by agility? At its very core, it's about two key actions: seeing change and delivering change. Notice it's not passive. It's about having the vision to see what needs to be different and then having the skills to actually make it happen. For you, for your team, and for your whole organization.
What's really cool is that agility isn't just some vague concept. The source material actually breaks it down into 5 distinct capabilities. 5 agilities that all work together. It's a powerful framework, so let's walk through each one.
First up, we've got results agility. Now this one is all about how you measure success and make decisions.
An agile leader makes a crucial shift here. They move away from just subjective feelings. I feel like we're not doing well. And instead, they lead with objective, hard data. It's about trading fuzzy intuition for concrete facts.
And the key principle is simple. If you don't measure it, you can't really improve it. So a results agile leader creates a scoreboard. They define what winning actually looks like with clear metrics, and then they use that data not to point fingers, but to fuel a constant cycle of getting better and better.
Number 2 is change agility. And honestly, this is the engine of progress.
See, it's one thing to accept change when it's shoved in your face. It's a whole other thing to be the one who starts it. A leader with change agility embraces change, they catalyze it, meaning they get it started, and they advocate for it, helping everyone else see the vision.
Now this leads to a really interesting leadership paradox. As you get more responsibility, you often have less clarity yourself, but your job becomes creating clarity for your team. You have to get comfortable with that ambiguity. Mastering that balance, that's the heart of change agility.
All right, our third agility is so critical in today's world. It's learning agility. We're all facing problems we've never seen before, right? Well, learning agility is your ability to figure things out on the fly. It's all about how fast you can close the gap between what you currently know and what you need to know to solve the problem right in front of you.
So how do you get better at this? Well, first, you got to own it. Take personal responsibility for your own development. Second, go look for those projects that kind of scare you. The ones that stretch you beyond what you think you can do. That's where the real learning happens. And finally, just make it a habit to constantly ask yourself, what am I learning right now?
Number 4 brings us to the human side of leadership, relational agility. You can think of this as emotional intelligence in action.
This is a big one. It's not about how you think you're coming across. It's about actively trying to understand how other people are actually experiencing you. And then, this is the crucial part, being willing to adjust your behavior based on that feedback. The more self-aware you are, the more influence and impact you'll have. It's a direct connection.
And that brings us to our 5th and final agility, mental agility.
Think of this as your internal gyroscope as a leader. It's your ability to stay calm, cool, and collected, to stay optimistic, especially when things get complicated and tough. A leader with mental agility can handle pressure without dumping it on their team. They see setbacks as learning moments. Honestly, it's the foundation for all the other agilities. If you can't manage your own mindset, it's pretty tough to lead anything else.
So there you have it. Results, change, learning, relational, and mental agility. But it's just as important to understand what happens when these are missing. So let's flip the coin and look at the pretty high cost of inaction.
For example, a leader who's always too strong, too opinionated, they're lacking relational agility. And you know what happens? People just start to avoid them. Or what about a leader who's defensive, who you can't give feedback to?
That's a lack of learning agility, and their growth just grinds to a halt because nobody wants to invest in them.
If someone is just constantly critical, that negativity shows low mental agility. And eventually, they just get left out of important conversations. And then you have the indecisive leader. They lack results agility because they can't commit to a data-driven path. And the result? People just won't trust them. They won't follow.
Okay, so we've seen the ideal framework and the very real risks of ignoring it. But the great news is, you can absolutely develop these skills. So let's finish up with a clear, actionable path to get you started on your own journey.
Here are 3 things you can do right now. First, take personal ownership. Don't wait around for someone to train you. Second, step out of your comfort zone. Volunteer for that project that makes you a little nervous. That's where the growth is. And third, become a student of other leaders. Watch what they do, and more importantly, ask them how they think.
And that brings us to the end. I want to leave you with one final, really powerful question. It's a direct challenge to start building your relational agility today. What would happen if you went to 2 people you genuinely trust and you asked them straight up, how do you experience me? The answer to that simple and, kind of vulnerable question, that could be the key that unlocks everything.